And then we'll follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor.
Lord, thank you for this day and for the blessings of it. Thank you for your love, dear Lord, and we thank you for the fact that you are Lord, you are our King, and we give you honor and glory for all things. Participate, Father, we just pray that everything goes as it should. And Lord, you just watch over and bless each and every one here. Lord, thank you for the blessings of this nation. Thank you for your blessings upon our lives and our families, and just continue to bless our city of Murphysboro. We love you, Lord. We thank you for loving us. We thank you for Jesus Christ who died on that cross to give us life. And go with us and have your way. And it's in the name of Jesus we ask it all. Amen.
Amen. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge.
Alderman Curry-Winston.
Here.
Alderman Runge. Alderman Urbis.
Here.
Alderman McComb.
Here.
Alderman Navarra.
Here.
Alderman Gladden.
Here.
Mayor Stevens.
Here. All right, first up, the Murphysboro Historical Society to is here with us this evening. We also have Aaron Barnett from the Historic Society with us. And Aaron, from time to time, he and others group to help in preserving historic properties. And so, Aaron, would you stand up, join him, and we can tell us what you have?
Well, you know, usually we do the Restoration Hero Award, and this time we nominated Phyllis and Robert. It's the Preservation Hero Award because sometimes, you know, restoring a house is destroying one, you know, and they've been there for a really long time. And I don't know much about the history of the house. I know it was 1923.
1923.
And it survived a tornado. And you care to tell us anything about it?
Well, first of all, I apologize for Phyllis not being here. We're putting in a total new AC system, which included ductwork in the attic to replace the old. And consequently, she said we've been so hot in the house, she's not presentable. I've lived in that house for 54 years. It's the former Bill River had it built, men's River clothing, the older clothing store in Murphysboro. And so I'm the second owner, and as I say, I've been the 54 years. And anyway, I've enjoyed it there. And
it's amazing how you can pass by something every day, and until somebody says something about it, now it sticks out like a sore thumb. I can't drive by without noticing it.
Thank you very much.
And I just want to get us to. We appreciate everything you've done.
All right. Well, I thank you and the city for this award. The last time I had something to say here was in the 80s and the 90s. I do recognize someone real well. How long have you been here, Gary? Anyway, and Sandy, I have this student. WJ, of course, I know Ann, Leonard, and then some of the others I know too. So, but anyway, thank you very much, and as I be here, she is very much responsible for helping me keep things in shape and whatever. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, that will take us into our next item on the agenda, which is the consideration of minutes from July the 28th, 2026. And I'd entertain any questions or amendments to the minutes at this time. Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to... I hear a motion carries. Because these were the items that I assumed would bring forth the most public comment, and we wanted to respect everybody's time and not necessarily make everyone stay for an hour's worth of other business if they didn't want to. And so, in any case, that's what I want to note for the council as to why the agenda was amended. I have an item here first that has to do with parking, and it's discussion regarding parking in the 2100 block of Edith Street. This has been discussed at our last couple of meetings. We have Principal Herndon here, we have Dr. Evers from the school district, and I want to first say, of course, that situation, I know some members, I think that there was a map that was presented to the council here before the meeting that sort of outlines a concept with the highlighted areas being where parking might be permitted. And so with that being said, I would turn it over to members from the school district if they'd like to say anything to the council about this matter.
I don't know if I have anything to say. I didn't come prepared for that, sorry. Just Chief came and we looked at where we could make spots and actually designate spots instead of just kind of being a big open thing where some things have been paint over them and make spots for the public as best we can to help the flow of traffic back there.
And just as a reminder to the council, currently our ordinance says that there's no parking on the north side of the street. And I believe that's been the ordinance for many years, but in practice, there was really only one sign that indicated that all the way on the far west end, and residents have been in practice using that north side of the street for parking. It's, I think, certainly natural for us to amend our ordinance such to allow the parking as has here by the school district. I know our police chief has done a lot of work in helping communicate coordination. Chief Elmeyer, do you have anything you want to share?
Yeah, just as you got discovered in the recodification that it was stated that there is no parking. As you look on the far misspeak, go ahead and correct me, but we met park there anyway. It's on the sidewalk, which is rather long. With the city on repairs as that would, be needed in the future. If you go, there's about 3 or 4 cars right there. We would and picking up and dropping off students. So that's why we'd only want 1 or 2 right there. Then when you go before, there's another area at the gym area for a drop-off point and pickup point, and then farther down to 22nd, there's spots, 2 or 3 spots for vehicles to park there, which would accommodate Speaking with Darren Mills, it appears that I think that there's some ADA issues with handicap parking being right there and people exiting their vehicle, stepping out into the street. So none of those can probably be handicap parking, and Harold may know if that's true or not. So these would be just regular parking spots and the school staff.
Okay.
exit doors would be the only other thing, and the school can maybe answer that or agree or disagree with that.
I think that the only reason that somebody would park there in the back is for basketball game, volleyball game, and, you know, maybe over by the football field would be a better place to put some handicap parking. I know it's a little further away, but if the accessibility with the curb and everything isn't ADA compliant, that would probably be the next best area, or on the west back, west side parking lot.
And Gary, of those 4 or 5 spots, there's a no parking area for the dumpster and some other areas right there, but there is a couple handicap spots down in that area closer to the front of the street.
Wrestling's going to be housed at the Samron building for like practices and things, and I think with the new gym out at the high school, the one or two meets that we were going to have are going to be out at the high school now with wrestling.
Thank you.
Mr. Urban?
Yeah, about the handicap, I noticed the concrete work that you've been doing on 22nd and Edith, there's no cutout, handicap cutout at the sidewalk there?
I don't think they're complete. They had to re-pour the handicap entrance, so I don't think that work is finished.
Okay.
And they haven't done any striping yet either, so I think that concrete work is still yet to be striped and finished, so.
Because on the other side, handicap
Right.
sidewalk, but not with concrete.
Mr. Austin?
Yeah, Chief,
The residents that have come forward and for the school staff.
and what about Chief McBride? Because I always hear him say it'd be difficult to get fire trucks down the road.
I haven't looked at it, he didn't say anything, but as long as they're still parking on the south side,
There is, and that was my...
we had before when there's parking for basketball games and stuff, so.
Okay, that's all I have, Mayor, thank you.
Okay. All right, well, I suppose, Mr. Urbis, you want to call for a motion here?
Yeah, is there a motion regarding the...
Hang on just a second.
I'm making motion.
Hold on.
Query was about the fire trucks. The section that's blocked off, like designated for no parking, is large enough for school buses, so I think most of your rigs would be similar in size to a full-size school bus, correct? Yeah.
Correct, but usually we don't park right up against the building if the building's on fire. There. For both.
Not about parking, but whether the truck itself could get through if there was parking on both sides.
Right, and all the large 72 passenger school buses would, so
Yes.
that it would, if it could make the large school buses, that it would accommodate most of our rigs, so.
Mr. Barnett?
I got a question for the school. So the area that's marked off now, are the buses going to be dropping off there now? Because in the past, they dropped off there, and there was an issue with the buses double parking. And, I mean, several times I would come home, not be able to get through. And so I actually took a photo, sent it to the bus company, and that's when they started dropping off at the what, was it 20th or 21st there?
So in the mornings, they drop off at the entrance of the gym,
Okay.
and then in the afternoons, we pick up at the gate on the east side. And typically, they start lining up at probably 2:45, and there's usually about 3 early buses are lined up there.
Yeah,
But
we're
then
so
once
much easier on that, at that time at the end there, and, because, you know, if people are parked on the right, the bus is kind of like cocked out in the road, and it's kind of a safety hazard too, so that's what I was wondering about.
Yeah, in the mornings, I think that's maybe why that, maybe painted a little big, will probably, I think what we had talked about was narrowing that area up some. We probably don't need that much area, but enough for a bus to get in to drop the kids off.
And then so for the handicap, that's pretty far away from the doors to where it is.
Yeah, I think
And
so.
I talked to the guys that are doing the concrete work, they had a ramp built. They said it wasn't compliant, and I know, like they had said, that the walkway isn't handicap accessible, but when I asked the guys why they didn't make that accessible for the door, they said, well, we don't design it, we just put it in. So I don't know if there's plans, but you would think before they poured the concrete, they would have that,
Probably need to talk to them, see what that plan is.
because the only other place is the other side of the school, and all the employees park right on the we get by sometimes, you gotta walk out to the road because personnel on the 21st block there.
But yeah, I think the ones on the south side, those handicap aren't going to be there.
Oh, they're gonna take those down?
They'll just be regular car parking. Right, chief, as a note.
Yeah, they won't be able to exit their vehicles out into the lane of traffic.
Oh, I was talking about, when you turn on Venus from 21st, the employees that park up on the sidewalk there, 'cause so if you're walking down the sidewalk, towards your dumpster and your recycling,
Yeah.
you can't even get through without walking out into the road,
If the council is okay, maybe we put some concrete barriers so they don't, because maybe it wasn't you and I, maybe it was Holly and I were back there. They're pulled up really far of the building, but yeah, the cars, but if they stay back, there's an area that is sidewalk width that if they just pulled up to, if we put some concrete stoppers,
Yeah.
then there'd be an area right up by the building.
Oh,
Their back end
that
would be out a little further and keeping them away from the building.
And then when you get past that, then the dumpster's right there,
Yeah.
We can take a look at it, and I think what Principal Herndon is describing would be a good compromise and something that would help accommodate the reality of what's going on and the parking there, and also make sure that pedestrians are able to get through.
I appreciate that Chief and Principal Herman really took time to look at like the needs of the neighborhood, but also the safety of the students and the faculty, and just about the neighborhood design. It is hard to park people, but we can do a better job with the people who park on the curbs, having them park in less of a showroom style and like more of an orderly, linear. You wanted the curbs were all mixed up, that we'll be good stewards and doing the repair and patching of that. But we just want to make sure that we have parking that is accessible for all, that also meets the needs of both the school and the neighbors who live there.
I don't know what you considered, but I had mentioned to an employee one time that you had that whole parking lot where the buses used to park over by the track.
That's
not
our
utilized
student,
anymore.
that's our student. We have 415 kids who.
Oh, by the track?
Yeah,
Where the building is back there?
They go, that's where we have our recesses. I just don't want a lot of cars moving in and out while they have
Yeah.
their lunch periods. I just don't think that's the best
Oh, I
idea.
didn't know that the teachers left during.
They could go to get a slice of pizza or those type of things during their lunchtime. So that's more for, we'll open those gates and let parking happen during sporting events and things like that. But during the day, I like the football field area, the track area, just for our students' safety. They already walk across the corner with, Mr. Herman and his staff to get over there during their recess time, but having cars potentially moving in and out during their planning periods or their lunch period probably is not, I don't think that that's our safest idea. That's just me.
Thank Don.
One kid darting after a ball.
I was gonna make a motion.
Okay, Don, you have a question?
I have one question. Tell me where the area is that you thought would be a handicap that they said.
Right where they're, I guess the
Right.
workers told me they're putting in Shawnee Health or something at the corner of the school there, is that true? And so they're doing all this construction to, they fixed the drains there, and
Okay.
we did this. So they built a ramp up to the door, and I guess they tore it down a few days later, and so there's accessible, but you can't cross the road and go up to that.
Yeah.
And so they've already got the
I think that they
concrete floor.
probably are gonna have to tear, I suspect, and redo that just because of ADA type of rulings and mandates. I didn't know if it wasn't done because, the grade makes a big difference. And if it was if they didn't
I
do
know
it.
we work with our architecture firm, and we'll
Yeah,
double check with them.
just check on
The
that.
ramp that gets people into the facility was re-poured because it wasn't wide enough. That's why you saw it poured and then replaced, because
Okay.
it was a few inches off. That's what you're seeing on the re-pour. With regards to cutouts and those type of things, we work with our architect. Make sure that
We just
they
need
do
to make
everything
sure
that
that
you
your
need to.
ADA and compliant, and make sure that the grade, that makes big difference.
That's why we re-poured everything, just
Yeah,
so we would
exactly.
it better, because I mean, we have ample out to your smaller, you see, you
Thank
get
you
that
for
corner.
answering, by the way.
amend the necessary code to allow parking on the north side of Edith Street, 21st to 22nd Street, and to incorporate the suggestions by Chief Ellemeyer into the revised code.
Thank you. Is there a second? Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Passes. Thank you. Chapter 3, animals, by adding section 3-2. Really, we're gonna kind of give us some background.
Sure. When we adopted this at the last meeting, I did not expect that there would be the amount of discussion about it that there has been. But because there was a large amount of discussion, in person, online, whatever, decided it would be a good idea to revisit the ordinance. And one thing I want to say to the folks that are here this evening, members of the public, is that everybody's going to have an opportunity to speak, and I want to assure you of that up front, because I've attended plenty of meetings as a citizen, and I think that's the number one thing people are concerned about when they attend a meeting. And so we're going to make sure that folks have an opportunity to say what's on their mind. As a matter of keeping good meeting minutes, when we get to that portion, if you would please state your name so that we can have that properly in the minutes, that would be very helpful for us. And we have no hard and fast limit on how long people are allowed to express themselves, but just in order to be respectful to one another, if you can, be not necessarily brief, but use an economy of words, that's always good, just for expediency's sake. The other thing is, sometimes I've seen situations where people begin to sort of debate one another out in the crowd here, and we have a pretty small council space, and so I would just ask that folks please keep your comments directed to myself and the council. Ultimately, the question before us here this evening is, should the council keep the ordinance that we passed at the last meeting, or should we amend it in some way? And as a part of procedure, 14 years, 13 years as mayor, I've never vetoed anything, but our city attorney told me technically that's what I should do with the original ordinance, because I never did sign it, because I didn't want something to be enforceable in a sense if I was bringing it back to the council for more discussion. That didn't seem like that would be the right thing to do. So if we end up keeping the ordinance as it is, it'll take 7 votes. If we pass some amended version, it'll take 6. That's just how the state statute municipal code works on this vote. I would also say that one of the first people that reached out to me was Diane from St. Francis Care, and I invited her to the meeting. I appreciate her attendance, and I want to give her an opportunity to talk to some portions of this ordinance that I think are very important to their organization. And so, with all of that setup being said, before I offer Diane the opportunity to share a few thoughts, is there anyone that wants to share anything initially? Diane, I would welcome you to share what you'd like to share with the council.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for being receptive to reviewing this. I spent 20 years of my life in saving animals, and so I'm not talking about feral cats, I'm talking about cats. There's no difference in feral cats and cats. They're only feral because we haven't done our due diligence as a society and done anything about the reproducing or about trying to find them homes. So, domesticated animal. There's no difference in a cat or a dog or a puppy or a kitten, and we work tirelessly to save those animals. So I hope that you definitely reconsider, and I'm not a wildlife expert, so I'm not here to talk about deer or possum or anything else. Only the feral cats, because feral cats are cats. They're domesticated, we have to do better. So I think in a worms though, because now that you've opened this up about starving, we've got plenty of research that doesn't work. Trapping, neutering, and releasing. That does work, because they're in colonies, and the people that feed them, they depend on coming to get the food, and then you can set a trap, and you can neuter them, and you release them back into the colony, and by just simple attrition and predators, the colony will decrease in size. If you take the tomcat out, another tom just comes in, and more cats come in. So it makes a bigger problem if you don't do the trapping, neutering, and releasing back into that same spot. So I want to be very cognizant about people's time. St. Francis, we will do our part. I know Christie's here from Right Way. They had a big post that they will do their part. And I think other vets in the area will do their part, because this is a problem that everybody has. And different cities have tried to do this non-feeding ban, and it hasn't worked. From Minneapolis all the way down to here. Yes.
What's your experience with other communities in the area that have trap, neuter, and release programs? Can you educate me on that any at all?
The problem is money, because it takes money to get, and it takes a person that knows how to handle a feral cat. Because feral cats are feral because they're scared. We've had feral cats at St. Francis that, after they're handled a little bit, they're not feral anymore. One lives in our building who was feral as a bee that just showed up. So with the proper resources, feral cats can be reduced. The number of feral cats can be reduced. We're probably always going to have feral cats, because a cat can have 3 litters in a year, and they can have them when they're like 2 months old. So unless we do something as a society to try to limit their reproduction, the problem's just going to grow and grow and grow. And I hope that we don't think that by just eliminating their feeding, because people will still feed. I feed feral cats, and I'm going to still feed my feral cats. I do it in the morning so I don't have raccoons and possum come to my neighborhood, but I feed them in the morning. They come and they get as close to me as from me to you, because they know I'm going to feed them. So if you have the resources are the biggest problem, and people that know how to trap, and veterinarians that know how to handle feral cats, and then you release them right back. Because somebody that knows what they're doing as far as altering a cat, it's like a minute surgery.
Well, I think there's an opportunity for us to investigate. We're collaborating, of course, as you know, with Jackson County, Carbondale, and Murphysboro came together to reinstitute what was formerly the Jackson County Humane Society. And I did some initial research this morning. I think Heron may have an active trap, neuter, and release program, and I texted back and forth with Mayor Fatini a little bit. He's going to be sending me some information about how that works. And I do think that is something that the city council needs to really take a close look at and consider, because, as you mentioned, cats.
Right.
And I don't know what the right, budget number would be to begin with. But I think that's certainly something that I am very interested in, and I would say supportive, but I don't know to what financial level, because I haven't done enough research yet.
Carbondale has an active TNR, Cobden has an active TNR, Marion has an active TNR.
Aaron Fuel Line Fixtures is.
Yes.
And they've been a lot
Aaron,
of tests in Murphysboro.
Yep.
So-
People live here.
Yes, and I mean, I've, on my own, spayed probably 10 feral cats in my neighborhood, just trying to help the situation.
Barb?
How do these other smaller communities finance that? Do they have
Donations,
grants, or is it all
grants,
donation? Is it-
Volunteer time.
It's not necessarily coming out of their budget.
Most of them don't have a budget as far as I understand.
The issue is going to be paying the veterinarian and
Yes, I
paying
get
for the
that.
drugs.
Yeah.
That's the issue, that, because I know, because we run on a shoestring
I know.
budget, and most vets, the problem is we have a shortage of vets. So it's not like there's a lot of veterinarians just hanging out looking for things to
Waiting to
do.
do,
Right.
spay and neutering.
I had brought up the possibility of talking to any programs that are veterinarian or vet tech programs. Now, we don't have any here in Southern Illinois, but we do have some within a few hours away. That if they would incorporate their volunteer time to come to our community to do that TNR, that would be something that not only helps them with their education, program at John May. Well, there's most certainly enough programs within a few hours radius of here to maybe present that to the schools to see if there would be something they could incorporate into their curriculum.
Do you have any idea of where the closest one might be?
It's,
For vet tech?
you're right, thank you.
So that's a long trip for them.
That's 3 hours. Their curriculum, then that can be incorporated into a time frame and understand down here, please say a day or two to do the work. And
We have a full surgery, I mean, it's
Yeah, they have a full
yeah.
surgery unit ready to go at any time.
Ma'am, what's your name?
I was
I'm
gonna
Tara
ask that
Nelson.
too.
Hi.
Pardon me?
Tara Nelson.
Okay.
Other comments from the council?
So just thank you for allowing me to speak, and thank you for reconsidering this, because they're domesticated, and starving them out is not an answer, in my humble opinion.
You mentioned we have a representative here from Right Way.
Yes.
I just didn't know if you wanted to share similar sentiments or...
I would love to. Thank you, Mayor Stevens, for bringing up this topic, whether it was intended or not. I'm thrilled to be talking about it, and thank you
What
for...
was your name?
Years professionally. A post on our admissions and medical services Facebook page, as some of you guys might have seen. We would love and create a TNR program. We don't have one ourselves currently, but we have support from national entities in terms of professional training. We are in the process of renovating a 4,000 square foot facility on our property to be a new large community not-for-profit veterinary clinic. We are willing to hire the people necessary to make this happen. Money is an issue. We have a grant writer, I'm sure you guys do too. We are for this. And I think that you've seen the amount of interest from the public. People care immensely about this. And the way that a community treats its most vulnerable citizens and parts of the community, cats and animals, says a lot about the community. And we'd love to be a part of the solution. We'd love to partner. We'd love to help make something happen that is affordable. We can start small and we can end big to contribute as well. And things like co-pays can go a long way in getting this to become a reality. So we're all for Murphysboro, very excited to talk further about it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir, did you have something you wish to share?
Yeah, my name is Joshua Lamb. I'm from Riverside, California. We, it's a county of 4 million. We have kill shelters everywhere. That's how big of the county is handling the problem with the cats and the dogs. The problem with the raccoons.
Understood. Okay. Anyone else wish to speak to the council? Tara?
Yep. So I actually wrote something, because otherwise I would just ramble on for an hour. All right, so, hi, I'm Tara Nelson. I know some of you and many of you. This is my first city council meeting, so obviously this is something that I feel passionate about. And I'm a 20-year Murphysboro homeowner. I've been here for a long time. And so let me just start with, for 7 years, yes, I have been feeding raccoons and possums out of my backyard. And in that 7 years, I have witnessed some amazing things. I've watched possums grow from itty-bitty tiny little things to big ones that fall out of their mama's pouch. And there was one time one fell out, she didn't know. And I was able, because I built trust with these animals, to be able to pick up that baby and actually call her to me and put it on her back so she could have it up. I had a raccoon that came by for over 5 years with a nicked ear, blind in one eye. Every year she brought her babies to my house. And the last year that she came, she had one baby. The year after that, I knew that that was going to be the end. And she actually died in my lap of old age. One of her daughters used to play fetch with our pet boys. So yeah, this is personal to me. It's emotional. I understand that not everybody accepts or wants wildlife in their neighborhood, but they're here. They've been here. They're always going to be here. Whether I feed them, whether you feed them, whether nobody feeds them. They didn't just show up. And the thing is that they are urban wildlife, right? So they are adjusting to living within the city limits. They are adjusting to living around people. They have learned to do things like get into people's trash, get into people's homes, get into people's garages. They've done that before I started feeding them. They're going to continue to do that. They're especially going to continue to do that if the trash is easily accessible, easy to get into, holds things that catch their interest, and people do this too. I've watched humans dig through the trash in our alley. Stopping feeding them is not going to stop that. And again, I understand that not everybody wants wildlife in their yard, but they're already here. And it's a responsibility to make sure that your trash is secured, that your home is secured. They're not trying to attack you or come after you. They're just looking for a place to be safe and to find food. And the thing is, there's talk about how if they are being fed, and I've said this, anything that I'm giving them is supplemental to their natural diet and their natural hunting instincts, of which they do not lose because they're getting supplemental food left out. Cat food, dog food, nuts, whatever it is. I've watched them snub anything I might give them and dig around the ground, which is exactly what they do. And they're looking for grubs, or looking for moles, or looking for yellow jackets, and looking for all kinds of stuff. They still continue to do that with a food source nearby. We're not going to push that out of the natural instincts. It's not going to happen. And the completely cut off any food or water to any animal within the city limits is cruel and it is deadly. And as far as the feral cats go, everywhere all over the city there are populations of feral cats that people are feeding and giving water to, providing shelter during the spring weather. Removing that is a death sentence. Removing that is also going to cause more problems for the city as far as destruction and breeding out of control. There are ways to deal with this that I'm excited to be part of. Because I feed them too. The people who feed the animals are not going to stop feeding the animals. They're not. The people who leave out some food and water, the local cats, the local dogs, are not going to stop doing that just because there's this city ordinance to stop to do it. And I think that says something about the quality of our people trying to be better humans and treat animals like they would want to be treated. And these cats, especially the cats, they're not choosing to be feral. They are not choosing to be wild. They're not choosing to go through your trash. They were dumped off and then left to fend for themselves. If you do research on the CNR programs, it's actually really interesting the way that actually works.
and how those communities of cats work to keep the city cleaner too. And if you take away all these animals, you're gonna have a pest problem. You're gonna have a rat problem, you're gonna have a mouse problem, you're gonna have problems. Yeah. So, and I will admit that the passing of the ordinance last month irked me. One, I did not appreciate being called out by name. Also, nobody knew that this was happening. They didn't know. We didn't know that there was an ordinance that was being talked about or even considered to pass to ban the feeding of animals. Nobody knew. To me, did you know, Josh?
Yes.
How?
I asked animal control for it.
Okay. One person. The people who do the work with the animals didn't know. We didn't know.
I heard it from TikTok.
About
That's why I'm here
2
today.
weeks before it passed, I was talking to animal control.
Probably me.
You know, that anyone can check what's going to be on that agenda.
Is that the people who do the work in the community didn't know that was even on the agenda. And perhaps that's our fault for not keeping tabs on what's going on in our city. And I admit, this is the first time I've been to a city council meeting. Absolutely. But to find out that that was brought up and passed without any community involvement, without any talking to those of us who work with the animals, that seemed like background politics to me and didn't sit well.
Well, I'll address that because my job is really a core function of city government is public safety.
Sure.
And when you talk about community involvement, there was community involvement because there was direct messaging to me about issues of public safety with distemper and concerns about kids and property damage and all these things in the surrounding neighborhood. And I tried to be a person who's responsive to citizen concerns. We abided by all the Open Meeting Act requirements. Sometimes the legal standard is the lowest standard, but I can tell you, again, like, I did not, I saw this as just a common sense step toward addressing neighborhood concerns. And it certainly was not any sort of, backroom politics or an intention to not be transparent. If I didn't want to be transparent, you wouldn't be standing here tonight.
Right.
Because I wouldn't have even held another session
Right,
about it.
right. And that actually, thank you for that. That shows that you are trying to listen to our community. The concern for the health of the community, those of us who work with the animals are going to be the first ones who are going to recognize that there is a distemper problem, that some of them are sick, that some of them are hurt, and to be able to have a connection to them so that we can get them to the people who can help them. We're the first line of defense, those of us who know these animals, those of us who have been around these animals.
Well, I do want to pause for a moment, and because I want to make sure we engage in a discussion in a sense. See if there's anybody on the council that wishes to on the ordinance.
Going about. I always.
It's just
I mean, way overbroad for whatever the problem was we were trying to address, which I wasn't exactly sure. Because the research I did, you know, a domestic cat that's dumped becomes feral at some point in time, so that to me was you know, so I feed birds and squirrels and the
Exactly, they're still.
I leave water out for the cats. Right, you know, it's full of dirt in the water. I think it's overkill, so I if it's this ordinance.
Other thoughts, Mr. Runge?
Yeah, I got to tell 2 weeks. I didn't even know what the acronym TNR meant. So I had to look it up. I've been educated on it. I personally think that we have to address the feral cat issue that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when I'm here, where can we draw a line?
I don't know, that's.
I know.
To the play in
Scare- We don't. We start. We don't. This is with the feral cat issue. The rest of it.
Cat portion from the ordinance.
And then
That is absolutely something that not only have I been doing on my own, out of my own pocket, for years.
and that's where I'm at.
Neighbors of ours, we work together to do this out of our own pockets, not through any kind of organization, but simply because we see a need within our neighborhood and took action to do that.
Tara, I mean no disrespect, I want to make sure, Mr. Pittman.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the problem with separating any part of it is you put cat or dog food down on your porch or your deck, the raccoons and the possums are gonna eat it, you know, you can't, I mean, that's unenforceable for the most part. Put cat food on. To get into it, you're feeding it.
You're feeding both usually.
Food on the.
Well, I
city limits, and he has several raccoons that he does feed in his back area. And he has an outdoor cat, and they all sit there and eat together. The cat and the raccoon. I mean, he's out of town, and that is a moot point for this, but how do you differentiate you?
is we represent people that live in this town. And, you know, when I get an email from someone that says, I do live close to the individual that is feeding wildlife and don't want to cause any issues, they are too okay with being around humans, I believe. They steal my dog's food off the porch, which his bowl is outside because he has food aggression when we rescued him. These raccoons have tried to walk into my home. They've gotten under my house. They've torn out most of my insulation. I had to hire someone to make sure that raccoons could not get underneath my home. I just feel like my animals that I do have shouldn't have to fight for their food or their safety. The cats we do have around the neighborhood, though, I do not mind them as much as I too sometimes feed them, et cetera, et cetera. Who also with this type of raccoon in the middle of the day. I have the Illinois Department of Natural Resources that says that you shouldn't be feeding wild animals. I have the Jackson County Health Department that sends me an email concerned about rabies being carried by. So, I mean, this isn't just like our opinion, it's our local represent saying, please help me control my neighborhood. And I think we have an obligation to do
This,
We certainly could, but I want to make sure, as I always respect, if they have anything they want to share, and then I can go out here.
Mayor, I would just like to say I agree with Alderman Runge. I would like to see have the opportunity for the people that want to work with the TNR, work with the city to do that. We talked. And one is one.
that's
I have I believe, a request from one of the members of the audience. Could you state your name, please?
My name is Sierra Schaffer. I am a licensed wildlife recoverer. I live in town in Murphysboro, which I did talk with you a little bit prior to the meeting. Distemper is a thing. Distemper is going to happen regardless if you feed or not. That's going to happen. However, I find it hard to believe a distemper raccoon attacked or tried to attack because distemper. Have you ever seen a distemper raccoon by chance?
I have.
Yes. They're so incapable of functioning by the time that they're showing symptoms of distemper. I'm not saying distemper, like it wasn't a raccoon that attacked. Absolutely 100% understandable. You know, a child to how a raccoon approaches. For the distemper stuff like that, that's going to happen regardless if you or not. That's part of in their environment. I mean, some of us live on the outskirts of town. Some of us live in the country. We're going to see distemper. For the feeding of raccoons, I don't understand how you're going to stop that necessarily, because like you just said, I mean, we're feeding cats, right? How are you going to differentiate that is my one question. I'm not necessarily for or against feeding raccoons. I understand when it becomes problematic, it can become problematic. I also understand that stopping feeding them at this point can cause more damage than good. Because the raccoons are rehabilitated. They're used to it. So if they're not getting it from this source anymore, they're looking all around that source. So all those people are going to have trash, raccoons, attic, basement. It's going to become an issue regardless.
if that the feeding of the supplemental food gets cut off.
But it's just understanding how you plan to deal with that. Like, are you just allowing feeding during the mornings and then you have to bring food up? Like, how do you draw the line, I guess, is my question.
Well, I think, again, that we can, I support, this is what I support. I support us amending the ordinance such to remove the feral cat language, work with our nonprofits to look at a TNR program, and move forward on wildlife, because, not because of, what the mayor thinks, but based upon citizen complaints and the health department and what IDNR advises me to do. And that's really all I have to. Yes, sir.
I'm raising 5 small children. As soon as the sun goes down, it's just a ton of raccoons. They're crawling out of the gutters. My trash every week is dug through. But my trash company doesn't pick up the trash on time, ever. So the raccoons are always going through it, because I don't know which day my trash gets
Your
picked
trash is
up.
also in the corner.
Tara, please.
Which is where anytime anything came onto my farm, I would kill it, if it was a problem for me. Raccoon, population around my house personally sky high, and I'm not allowed to do anything about it. I'm not allowed somewhere else, which he's baiting them and bringing them around my house, my animals, my children, and I'm literally not allowed to do anything about it besides what I did, which was talk to animal control and say that this is a problem for me. You guys, babies or anything comes up in like the raccoon population, but you can only guarantee that if you know how many raccoons there are, and if you're seeing them all the time. You aren't doing that. They're wild animals. You have no idea how many there are.
Yeah.
The park, there's 60 raccoons who live in the gutter. It's ridiculous.
That is
And if she's allowed, that's how. My kids.
All right, I would like us to consider a motion at this point to amend the ordinance, keep the ordinance, whatever. Mr. Irvis, this is your committee.
Richard, what was, so it was voted?
Procedurally, the ordinance was passed by the city council. It requires approval by the mayor to become effective. The mayor can approve the ordinance, it becomes effective. The mayor can decline to approve the ordinance and present his objection to the city council through a veto. That's what he has done. So it's back. The city council can either approve the ordinance with the objection that the mayor has made, which is in regards to the feral cats, the basis of his veto. That would take a normal vote, a vote of 6. The city council can override and approve the ordinance, which is a vote of 7. Or the city council could make a motion to do something differently, which would also require a vote of 6.
Do we have a motion?
I move that we amend the previous ordinance that we discussed to remove the references to feral cats and let the balance of that ordinance stand.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
If we pass it, we probably should possibly correct our ordinance.
As amended.
Roll call. Opposed? Aye. It passes.
Was there an opposed vote? Okay. So Mr. Irvis opposed.
All right, thank you. Everyone for their comments and information, was very helpful. We have no...
Yes.
I think it's $250, Richard, was that what? And I played.
$50 plus court costs up to $750.
I applaud you.
That's what it calls for.
All right, does anyone?
I'm very sorry. So, but I wanted to talk to you about, as like the track and release program, where the funding is going to come, because I see that the next order that's coming up next is about a TIF for the 17th Street. Where does that money come from? Is that also something that we can also put into a fund?
Could you state your name for the record, please?
My name is Marie Falcone.
Thank you, Marie. The trap, neuter, and release program, line item considered every year. The tax where those funds are used to be reinvested to that district. There's state statutory things that control how we can spend that money. I think any funding that would go into a TNR program would either just be allocated through general fund revenue or perhaps funded through some sort of reconsideration of what we charge people to register their dogs and cats in the city as a normal course of business. So those are just a couple of things that come to my mind as I was thinking.
Okay, the TIF, what I read about it on, it says it doesn't need to be paid back. And then it said something about, yeah, and it said 17th Bar and Grill, so I know that's a private corporation. It's not the taxpayers. So
just a quick description of what that is
Yeah,
the improvements that they make to those properties increase their real estate taxes for a portion of time that's designed in that TIF district. They get a percentage of that increase back as a reimbursement for improving that property. So it's specific to improvements that they've made to that property that have increased their real estate.
and the taxes will go
In that district.
Their property tax bill is normal, they're just
Yeah, they
getting
pay
a
their
portion of that back.
Okay.
It's in order to try to facilitate people wanting to invest in grow their properties.
So,
Sure.
Thank you. Any other public comment? I think we can move on.
All right, that takes the Budget and Finance Chair by Mr. W.J.
We have no items under old business. Under new business, we have consideration of the TIF reimbursement for 17th Street Bar and Grill, or 16 and 14 Walnut Street, that's the Bay building. So their increase was $15,281.80. The agreement that we have with them is the 75%, which would be the reimbursement back to them for $11,461.35. Any questions, or would like to make a motion on that amount?
Move approval.
That motion will carry. Next, we have anybody have any questions on any of the bills? That carry. Next, we have presentation of financial reports by Scott Evans, Budget Officer. Scott?
Month increase from the previous year this time. What we got this month. So that continues to be a good number. It just continues to be good. We have $679 in checking accounts, $1.49 million in money markets, and then, of course, the balance, $8.9 million in CDs. So 11 point solid million. Just for and we have gone from there. It was $10,746,000, but keep in mind these are just what happens to be the balance on those particular days, so it doesn't necessarily. Can't complain about that. But again, I don't feel like to do it by any means. So it can go fast. So anyway, that's where we're at. The fourth page, I guess. Through July. So we're actually, and we broke. We thought 4,634,000. We're ahead there too. So we're in pretty decent shape. We've got. That could sway that. If you look, for the so we're in pretty decent shape there, and then the spent $2,611,000, and we budgeted $2,719,000. So we've got a $108,000 cushion going into the final 5 months with 3 payroll months. Pardon? Anonymous tip. Represent the audit. Didn't quite. Anyway, so they're going to be here next time in 2 weeks. So that's all I have tonight.
Anybody have any questions for Scott? Thank you, Scott.
Yep.
Bring the money.
I'll do what I can.
In our packet for that. Looks like 2 different options. I think I just heard you say, well, we did the $95 per month, 2-time live mentions per game last year.
That's right.
60 total for the 8-month period.
Move approval.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Next week, downtown TIF building improvement application, Walnut Street Properties LLC at 1300 Wall Street. Ryan and Brooke Gutman. Look like they've got an estimated project cost of $45,000. That would make their reimbursement for $8,000, which is the maximum of that program there.
Approval.
Second.
Motion. That motion will carry.
I think, my understanding that the money's all spent now
Yeah, this will be the 8th application.
for the year.
For the whole that downtown ship.
Correct.
Or not the downtown, yeah, down. Okay. That's the last new under budget finance.
We said the 8,000 for the 1300 Walnut Street.
17th Street, their reimbursement was 11,000 something.
So
That was
50% cost. You get up half of maximum.
Yeah, but that's why I was just wondering what the difference.
Real estate taxes increases, you get a percentage of that based on your individual.
Just trying to understand a little bit. Thank you.
It's confusing.
It is, yeah. Because I did.
You're doing, if they're not gonna increase your real estate taxes a lot, then that one will be a lot better.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Any other public comment under budget and finance?
We just moved for approval for the consideration of the Red Devil football, basketball advertising package. I know we can't vote on it today, but also just wanted to make the council aware of the ability to do digital ads in the arena at the high school. And there are a lot of community businesses that have donated to be displayed inside of the new Murphysboro complex. And I just wanted to bring it to the city's attention that maybe that's something you should be considering.
Do we have a rate sheet for it?
No, but on the Murphysboro website, it says contact
Jeremy Marshall.
Derek Beard or Jeremy Marshall.
Okay.
So I just wanted to, can we make put it on the agenda for next time?
Absolutely.
No other public comment, then we can.
Building and Grounds, Chair by Mr. Mike Foster.
To the council for approving the work in the cemetery. My understanding from talking with Sandra is the gentleman council for approving that. There Yes, Gary.
I don't know. We should.
Well, it did like.
I bet. He is buying that lot. Okay? Now, I've got. And then I've got. In the 2000. And he is going to buy it for $1,200. We'll get rid of 2 lots. Then just but I did.
If those are going to be sold, we'll need to get those on the city council agenda for approval.
Well, for 2,500.
I don't think that was the action. I think the action was just to authorize you to speak with them.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
We'll do that.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Richard. Is there any? Hearing none, Mayor, we can move out.
Thank you very much, Mr. Austin. That takes us to Community Relations, chaired by Ms. Curry Witzman.
Thank you, Mayor. Under Community Relations, there's no old business, and under new business, there's consideration of Apple Festival request for security service in the street, and parking lot closures, parade and event accommodations. We have outlining the needs from the Murphysboro Apple Festival. I checked with Sandra about applications waivers, and I checked with that requests are pretty much still the same as what they were, and everybody was good to go. Does the council have any questions about any of the information?
Everything.
It's pretty much the same.
Yeah, there's always some
Yeah.
things that Sean and I have to work out. But
I make a motion, accept that request.
All in favor? No? Okay, ayes have it. And then we have the discussion regarding hours of operation for liquor sales, and I'll pass that over to you, Mayor.
I'm not sure that I had some further discussion. Had asked on the council agenda, they expressed that they were going to attend the meeting. They decided not to attend the meeting this evening. Just to be clear, the question was brought up about Sunday alcohol sales. The situation with Fay and with other outlets that have a AR style liquor license, which means that theoretically 51% of their sales from single food. And this person, unfair, they wanted to be able to open their strictly just license, not the, they wanted to be able to be open earlier to allow games. So that's what this was all about, why I added it to the agenda. But I really don't know that there's any debate to be had at this point about it, because I'm not really. So,
You know, I discussed this, nothing I want to push for, but I'd be open to something if, there was agreement on the council, but if there's nobody here, like, wanting us to change it, why we're
Right.
spending a whole bunch of money.
okay.
Yeah, I think if they were a restaurant, that's what the perception was. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, different kind of license, different kind of license.
Right. All right, well, I don't really have anything else.
Do we have any public comment regarding community relations? Hearing none, Mary, you can come on up. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Chaired by Mr. Don Glad, John.
Thank you, sir. There is no old business, and there is no new business. Is there any public comment about public business? Seeing none.
Takes the public works, chaired by Mr. Gary.
And I was already, as she said, and the other one, I got now.
Why don't we do that first, what if we go to surplus and then we don't buy any more?
Said he might be interested in the finish mower. His isn't in great condition, I think it'd be great to leave it around parts. We could pick at it, that's how we built ours, just by parting out old ones. It's probably not gonna make the tractor worth any more money anyhow.
I mean, you're not gonna get anything from it.
Parts, yeah.
For part,
I mean, if you stay
Ain't red apples on it, made a parade tractor.
Tractors.
just a moment.
Just the mower part.
Oh, that wouldn't be any fun parade then. So, am I right? And the
And you want more headroom on horsepower for a tractor than with the implement
more
costs.
It's more apples. Yeah, so I mean, do we want? Is that
It's a 61-inch versus 60-inch mower. I just think the different brands have different horsepower on them, you know, they don't all
But it's-
say.
the 60
It'll get through that.
Different barn or something else. The Skag may have a different horsepower on it.
It's all matter of both like the middle commercial mower.
Right.
And the Ferris is just like the Aaron's, but 60-inch versus is 50 for two.
It just seems like the third.
I was thinking of zero turn, if and when we get the solar panel fields, it'd be easier to mow around the solar panels with zero turn versus two long tractor stop.
Oh, they're not both zero turns?
No, they are, but what we had was.
Do you have a preference in one of them, Pat?
I kind of like Skags, but I feel like they're both.
I do too. That's the thing. I do too. It's $500.
I feel like they're both good. As long as we get one, that's all. Front tires. Pretty good. You know, I know.
Is there a motion to buy a mower?
So moved.
Which one?
We need to know which one.
No, he did the route.
You don't see that very often.
That's fine.
The hook one was for the Skag.
That's good. I don't think. Yeah, I seen that. I would prefer the Skag myself.
That's the motion I made.
We may have to look for some places. I did.
comes in.
I'm sorry.
Now we want to declare the
I think we need to declare this 91 surplus.
We don't want to declare all of it a surplus.
Yeah, I was getting a little land project.
That's not on. I make that.
I haven't.
And the animals.
Denise has been moved into the position of the water supervisor at the water office, and we did a 30-day review. She's doing beautifully, by the way. We have a new employee to take the place of the water clerk, which was Denise's previous job, and she started yesterday. I went and talked to her today, very nice lady, and we have set up reviews for 30, 60, and 90 days for that.
Which one do we hire?
Bailey?
That's the one we wanted.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
What's her last name?
West?
Oh, yeah. No new business, any public comment or personnel comment in person? Hearing none, Mayor, we can get out there.
All right, that takes us to the mayor's report. Tara Mason picked an awful long meeting. You'd like to say?
Thanks for considering me, I guess.
Interesting meeting.
Is there a motion to? Motion carries. I thought that I ought to take this and just mention what some of you may have seen, and that's that I am no longer in radio after 20 years, 8 months, and 24 days. And what's that?
And did you get it down to the hour?
Yeah, I should have got it right down to the hour.
Yeah.
But I wasn't paid hourly, so I wasn't paying that close of attention. But staff for Scott Duty, who has been appointed to the 118th State Representative seat, and so I'm helping him coordinate his schedule and, just throughout the course of the week, meeting with other elected officials and people in that district to try to help solve. I think, the positive thing about it is that I'm not going to have to be traveling to Springfield a bunch or anything like that. Murphysboro, to work on Murphysboro problems as much as I'll be working on those other problems.
Good for connections and that kind of thing too.
Certainly. So I'm looking forward to the challenge, and I'm looking forward to a little bit of extra pay, and so I just thought I would clarify. No, I do it for two little boys in the game.
Coming from some.
No, they still want to eat. Yeah, that's right. So, in any case, I wanted to give that up there. We'll go to request misuse.
I don't have any requests, thank you, but Thank you for this.
Ms. Cray-Witzman,
I don't have anything, thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Rungy,
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Austin.
Well, what you do, or what you've done.
Thank you very much, Mike. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. At the next meeting, the 25th. So,
All right. Ms. Jackson.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on your new position.
Thank you.
I know you're going to do well.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, Angie. Clerk Ridley. Okay. Mr. Pitt. Mr. Ernst.
Just, Will had asked me to attend the meeting this afternoon. People that are talking about putting the bicycle from, apparently the county is going from Airport Road to Country Club. So the next part will be Country Club Road to Murphysboro, and there's maps and plans. I picked up an extra if anybody wants one. The Egyptian is going to be applying for a grant to try to do it. It'll be on the north side of U-13 into the bridge. They need to put this on the meeting because they did have a question about currently the U.S. bicycle plant path that goes through the country, through the United States. It goes Shoemaker, it goes Old 13, Shoemaker Drive, up 23rd, up Dallas Road, up to Ava Road. And apparently, if somebody put up signs that say it goes through downtown Murphysboro, which it really doesn't.
They told us when we paid for that portion of the out of that. Yeah.
So, we need
Into that at our next meeting. Anything else, John?
No, there may have some information on the back. They said they were going to where you can fill out a questionnaire and you put a QR code and information.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. McCall?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Glad? Nothing. Okay. We'll go to department head request to turn. Mr. Schindler?
I have nothing, Madam Mayor.
Mr. Lee? Mr. Iser? Mr. Glass? Mr. Mills?
I do have one thing, but this is going to make Scott cringe, I'm certain. We have had nothing but trouble in the last month and a half with the street sweepers, and the mechanic from McCoy Forestry has been there probably no less than 6 times. We're pretty sure that we finally figured the problem out, but I just wanted you to know there's going to be a pretty significant bill coming from McCoy Forestry. That's the John Deere dealer. Key equipment won't work on the motor in the sweeper, that's who we bought the sweeper from. They'll service everything but the engine. So I just wanted you to be aware that I knew we had to get this thing fixed before the Apple Festival because we come up with an idea with brooms and shop vacs. That wasn't going to be it. But I just wanted you to be aware of it.
I'm feeling loose tonight. $400.
We waited till after we did the mower thing.
And put on
But that wasn't for you, that was for Pat, never mind.
You have anything else, Darren?